Hello there, welcome to another exciting episode of Fargo Retro. My name is Eric, and today I present to you a new and improved tutorial for Lifecraft, which is a automation management strategy game in early access here on Steam. It's comparable to Factorio, Dyson Sphere Program, that kind of game. So, if you're interested in learning how to get started, what the controls are, do basic consumption, assembly, and research, and we're going to finish things off by automating the expansion of our cell. So we can do all of that in just 1 hour guaranteed. Let's stop talking, let's get into it, you guys. If you're playing along here, I want you to go ahead and click on New Game. Two things you got to do before you start your game here is come up with a name for your organism. I'm going to go with Fargo coli. You've heard about E. coli. Well, I'm F. coli. I am one worse. For our seed, we're going to do bacteria with a capital B. And make sure you're on the survival, normal gameplay. Go ahead and click start. We'll kick things off here by closing the in-game tutorial. Phooey, it stinks. I'm going to show you everything you need to do in this game here. So we'll start off by going over the controls here. It's real basic, W, A, S, and D to pan around. You can enable mouse scroll if you'd like. I have that disabled. I like to just use WASD to move around. Use your mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out. Some hotkeys you'll want to know. F1 brings up a help menu that has different categories you can go through, you can read. F2 opens up your recipe window down here in the corner. F3 opens up your current goals, which are a great way to help you through navigating the game. And F4 brings up the tutorial I closed, so if you ever need to review that, you hit F4. If you hit J, that brings up the journal. This is basically just an overview of all of the different goals that'll pop up. So if you're not quite sure what to do, hit the journal, see if there's something you haven't done, and figure out if you can complete it. UI-wise, you can click up here to get access to the menu. This is basically just going to be everything that we've discussed here, plus your sort of main menu options where you can save. Otherwise, I'm going to press pause here. Slow down time while I'm talking. The outside temperature. So this is kind of very important here. So the environment's going to just keep getting colder. You're going to have to develop heat in order to stay alive. So typically you'll do that in a mitochondria, which, as we all know, is sort of the powerhouse of the cell. And other activities that you take on will also generate a little bit of heat. The playtime here, I don't really know what this is. I haven't found a use for it. This here is going to be your research screen or your evolution screen. I'll show you how that all works in a little bit here. And then we'll go down here to the bottom. These are going to be your various overlays. We'll see the temperature of each little chunk of our organism. We don't have any power going on, but that's where you'd see that. And you have different options down here for the walls and the buildings to pull those down. For most of the game here, I'm going to play with the cell walls down. And I'll also play with the buildings collapse, but I'll wait till I build some of the buildings before we do that. Otherwise, you can turn on a grid if you'd like. You can manually control your zooming in and zooming out using these two keys here. You want to press 1 to get into the interface options. You'll press 2 to delete anything that you've built. You press 3 to place tubule pathways. Those are basically just belts from Factorio. And then a couple other keys that you'll need to know. 5, this little erector set here. I don't know what 4 does. Haven't gotten that far yet with blueprint placement. 5 is how you're going to expand your cell. It's where you'll target what direction you'll want to grow. And I honestly don't use any of these. So otherwise, you've got your speed controls down here in the lower right next to your recipes. So at a high level, it's just sort of your basic RTS or Factorio Rimworld style control system. So you got yourself your cell here. And what does a cell need to do? It needs to eat and it needs to grow. Those are what we're going to help this organism do. I keep calling it a cell because a lot of the marketing is acting as if you're building the inside of a cell. However, the actual what you're building is some sort of organism. So there is sort of a strange scale going on here. If you were more of a cell, you'd probably have some sort of nucleus you would want to keep powered at all times. Personally, I wish that's how the game would go, but That's just a little commentary here from me. So what do we have available to eat to us here? So first thing we're going to focus on are these 4 green colored orbs. They're various amino acids. So you can kind of think of them, there's going to be a sort of a color tree here. As you look in the recipes, you'll see there's some little green subunits, green tubulins. Just know that you'll use green amino acids to build green products. You'll use blue to build blue, etc., etc. There's basically 2 chunks of the amino acids. So your yellow and your red are going to be more of your factory or building style materials, right? Whereas the blue and the green ones, those are going to be more about research and production. Okay, so you need infrastructure and core sort of stuff here, and specialty things with these. Some of the other things you'll need to know here is there's some oxygen you can do. You can do this is glucose, right? Glucose here is going to help you produce energy, and it's the primary food source for your character. These proteins are going to help you with research, and the celluloids down here is going to help you with expanding your cell. All of these amino acids also sort of just float in the nether, right? They just sort of generate up here. You can see green, blue, yellow, all of that, some glucose. What's important to know is there are other things that you can find out in the nether. These little bits here, these green puzzle-looking pieces here, let me pick up a couple more of them. These are your nucleobases. You actually need these for research. So, generally speaking, you'll get into a pattern where while you're waiting for stuff to build up, I recommend just sort of scrolling around your little blue environment and just hoovering up all the nucleobases you can find. Just put those in your organism. You'll want to use them later, and they sort of just generate slowly over time. So you don't want to get limited. If you ever find yourself bored, scroll around and see if there's any tasty things for you to be eating. The next thing we're going to want to do here, I've already grabbed it, I'm a little ahead of you here, is we're going to want to assemble a workbench. And you can assemble a workbench by building up 2 yellow subunits. So I've already found one here. Do a quick scan around, look for another. And if you can, I actually recommend waiting until you pick up 4. You have a 4-unit limit on what you can pick up. So you right-click right-click to pick up, right-click to drop, and left-click to interact with it. So normally you can just drop the 2 subunits like that. I'm going to left-click on them to build our first workspace, and this is going to be a workbench. Right-click to pick that up, and I recommend bringing it up here, because this is where we're going to be working for our first little bit. And the reason I had you pick up 4 total subunits is you can build 2 workspaces, and then after you've built your first workspace, the subunits will no longer spawn out in the blue. So basically what we're going to want to do now is, like all of these games here, you have to do all your first manual crafting. Our goals up here recommend what we need to do here. We should build something using the workbench, and we want to siphon red amino acids. So basically what we want to do is we want to build the mining infrastructure, if you will, to start pulling out red amino acids. The red amino acids are going to be the basis of our society, our cellular development, if you will. So first off here, it's going to kind of guide us through it. It wants you to place a cytosome, which is going to be like your miner. It's going to harvest from the outside. You're going to need to get a picker, a primitive picker, which is basically just one of those transfer cranes that are in Factorio. The name is escaping me right now. I think it might just be picker. Microtubes, which are just the belts, and then we want to start eating some red amino acids. So those are the 3 things we're going to need to build. How you want to figure out how to build those is you can highlight over the, hover your mouse over whatever you want to build in your recipes. And if you don't know where your recipes are, hit F2. What your recipes are going to do is they're going to tell you what the product is and how to build it. So in order to get a cytosome, I'm going to need 1 blue tube and 1 green tube. I can get a green tube using 2 green amino acids. Similarly, the blue, I build with 2 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 4 blues, pick up 4 greens, drop them off in my workbench. I'm going to hit E while hovering over the workbench to get some recipes going on here. And I'm going to click build a primitive cytosome. I'm going to just do it again here. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'll pick up 4, and get some cytosomes going. Oh, make sure you drop all 4. I gotta press space, get my game going again, and those things will start building here. While that's going on, we'll look at what we need to do to build the primitive picker. We need 2 yellow tubes, and the primitive microtubes is 2 red tubes. I'm sure you could have figured that out. So pick up 4, drop them off, start building. So again, hit E while hovering over your workbench, and select the item you want to build. So it's going to take 4 of each of these to build 1 tube and 1 primitive picker. That's okay, because you've got all the time in the world. You're a little organism. You're just having a good time floating out here in the void. So just build a good little surplus of these, get these going. That way, while we're placing some stuff, I'm going to build up a few more cytosomes as well, because, you know, spoiler alert, you're going to want to build at least 1 cytosome on each of these amino acid piles. We've got our first cytosome. You can just right-click on the workbench to pick up your item. I'm going to place the red cytosome tube there. That seems like a good place. I'm going to see what it picks up there. Put the wall back. Yeah, there you go. So you see that the cytosome is sort of working here. It's going to be eating some of this red amino acid, which is a glycine. So if you want to learn some science, you just right-click on it, or you hover your mouse cursor over any of the given items. It'll pop up with a little spiel down in there telling you what they are. All right. We've got some of these other items built up here, so we're going to pick up our picker. The picker is going to be, again, it's sort of your transfer position. What you want to do is you always want to know that there's this little arrow chunk that's bolder and green, and then there's sort of this little tail leading away from that. The tail is what will either accept or deposit the material that you're harvesting or interacting with. So for this one here, you're going to want to put the little tail bit under the cytosome, and you're going to want the arrow to be pointing away from it. What that's going to do is, you saw it just sort of sucked that red amino acid out. What we can do next is pick up some of our microtubules. Again, right-click on your workbench, left-click on the microtubules. This is a little bit different. You're going to want to drop this and then left-click on it. And what goes on with your microtubules is they are actually stored in if you remember, the button 3 is where you handle all of your microtubes. So they kind of just vanish into a mystery sort of dimension. And then you can go ahead and select the primitive microtubule by pressing tab to iterate through the list. You'll get on that first one, and then you can just hold down the left click and drag. And as you see here, that built a little path for these red amino acids to tinker down. So that's really the basics of consumption. You're going to build a cytosome. From there, you're going to put it on the wall. You're going to nearest some stuff that you want to harvest, some amino acids you want to harvest. Then you're going to build a picker, place it under the cytosome to remove the amino acids that you're harvesting, and then you'll want to build some microtubules to take them wherever you want. If you've played Factorio, you know the first thing to do after mining is refining. And that's what this next little blurb is about. So it says to assemble our first ribosomes. Ribosomes are going to be how you build things in this game. The ribosomes they're the refineries in the game, if you will, and the furnaces. And the way you're going to produce them is a little bit different. You need 2 of these red subunits, and you need 4 of the amino acids to build a subunit. So we're going to have to grab 8 total red amino acids. I already had one left over. Right click, hit E while hovering over your workbench and click on ribosome. And that'll get that tuning away. And like all the other stuff that I was telling you, I definitely recommend building a couple, because you're going to want to do this multiple times, obviously. We don't want to wait for some of this manual stuff to be building. Like, we can build it ahead of time, we might as well. Get another ribosome going. And then I'm going to build some more cytosomes over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice that the ratio is much more favorable on the cytosomes. You can get 2 cytosomes from 4 of each, whereas you only got 1 picker or 1 tube of the industrial inputs. So to automate the production of red tubulins, that's what we're trying to do. We're basically trying to forge an ore bar, if you will, out of these amino acids. You're going to need to right-click, pick up your ribosome, and you're going to get a pretty familiar factory-looking deal. Go ahead and place that at the end of your microtubes. You'll want to left-click on it to set your recipe, and click on the red tubes. And then we're going to want to go back and get another primitive picker. In this case, you can hit Q and E. You use E to rotate the tail around the picker, and then you use Q to change the orientation. We're going to want the tail facing down along with the arrow, and then we want to place that under the last part of the microtubule, and also have the tail under the ribosome. Get that going, and what do you know? We're starting to produce some red tubulins. So it will just automatically feed now. If you want to make it go a little bit faster, feel free to take an extra cytosome. Go ahead and put a picker down. Looks like I need another picker, so I'm going to get that built. 3. Another while I'm at it. And I will place my microtubes. Perfect. And yeah, so we've fulfilled that goal now. We are now synthesizing red tubulins using the ribosome here. Set this other picker, make sure that's set. We'll feed it a little bit faster that way. And it's going to ask us to do the same thing here with yellow tubes. We can certainly accommodate that. So go ahead and grab 2 of these cytosomes. You can do just 1 if you'd like, but we're building ahead. Why not? And you might need to build a few more pickers. That's okay. And just always constantly be building in the background while you can think of it. Eventually, you're going to want to automate the production of all this stuff, but we're going to take our ribosome, get that placed, set the recipe of the yellow tubulin, and we should have another picker showing up here in just a second. There it is. Perfect. We're going to set that up under the ribosome. And we'll drag the microtubes. And there we go. We'll take from now, when the next time we need to build microtubes, instead of pulling from here, we can actually hold down the Alt key, and you can pick them up right out of this ribosome. And now we're really going to get a little multiplication factor going on there. We're able to build 2 sets of microtubes for every full hand fill. You'll get little pop-up messages on the left-hand side here as you build your new facilities. So it's just telling you kind of what each thing does as you kind of play through it. Again, feel free to explore the game at your own pace. Pause me if you need to. But yeah, this is sort of the basics of harvesting and producing. It's refining is what we're doing right now. While we're waiting for some of that, we should note that it is night. The game does have a day and night cycle. It gets colder a little bit during the night, so you got to be aware of that. There's not a lot. Start off really warm, so it's not a problem. But as the game goes on, you will run into that. We can take some of these tubes that we're getting, along with some of the amino acids from the outside, and we just got to keep getting these pickers built. We're at a real picker deficit. Got 1. Have another one coming right there. And perfect. Get that turning out. I'm gonna get my microtubules harvested up. Get those in the industrial inventory there. I think feels like we're kind of on a bug. It's not really notating that I've built these. Maybe I need to build another one. And if you want to help them along, you don't have to wait for the cytosome to harvest. You can just literally just pick it up off of the pile yourself. Perfect. So that's the basics of production. The game wants us to look at research next, so I think we can do that. What we'll want to do is we'll want to build an evolver and then discover the assembler. So our evolvers, again, like the research component of the game here, we're going to need 2 blue subunits, and if you can guess, we're going to need 4 to build the blue subunit. So I'll grab 4, and right-click and build the evolver. And so the game will take the actions it needs to build the intermediate steps if it has the material available, so you don't need to bother building the subunits. It knows to do that. I'm actually going to get a second evolver going, and a couple more cytosomes. And what we're going to want to do, cytosome, as day comes through, we're going to just want to make sure that we have enough of our base nucleotides or nucleobases. So go around the map. You're going to want to grab blues and oranges go together, and greens and purples go together. And if you know anything about biology, you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, these are the nucleobases, and what they are the fundamental building blocks of our DNA. And DNAs come in pairs, A and T and G and C, I believe. And I think I can, yeah, C, G, yep, and A, T. Shout out IB Bio. But basically, the way our DNA works is these 2 pairs of or the two pairs of nucleobases bond together and form the complex double helix that makes up all of your genetic code. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to build some researchers, and we're going to get into our own genetic code. So we've built our first research item here. I just placed it there. It looks real cool. You're going to want to go ahead and click on your evolution window, and it tells you what we want to do. We want to discover the assembler. So I'll give you a hint here. The assembler is going to be under intracellular production, okay? There's a really fairly big research tree so far, but a lot of it is under construction. The kind of stuff that we're going to get into today will probably only get into this first region. But intracellular production is what we're going to want to do. If you hover over the little icon to the left, it'll tell you what you need to do the research. So we're going to need one of each of the bases. It also shows you what you get for doing that production. So we want the assembler and the catalyzer, and we'll talk about those both once we have them going. We've got our research started. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a picker, drop it so it's dropping things into your evolver, and go ahead and just feed one of the colors in, and then place the rest of them at the bottom of the picker, of the microtubes going into the picker. That way it'll sort of just automatically feed the research, and we can just go do something else while that's occurring. And what that other thing I'm going to do is I recommend grabbing some more bases. Just go around, look for any blues and greens. The spawning of this is going to be absolutely random. I have nothing, don't wait or expect to see stuff at where I am. It's going to be totally random. Looks like we're low on blues, so we should take another scan around. Here's a blue. And remember, if you're always just dropping them in your organism when you do your little scans around, that's great. I would be doing those scans around, but I'm busy talking this whole time, so I don't really have much downtime. Our research is about half done, or excuse me, quarter done. Well, it's about half done now. So while that's going, you can grab some of your yellow and red tubes, throw them over here, and get building. Again, you're going to always need more pickers. You're going to always need more microtubes at the beginning of the game, so no harm in just getting those going. While we're waiting for that research to go on. Similarly, feel free, you're going to need at least 4 total ribosomes, so if you don't have that many built, get up to that number. I have my 2 here, one on this docket, one on this workshop, and then we've got another one building. So, we've got our last research particle going through here. We are looking pretty decent. we're going to discover the assembler. I'll give you a spoiler. We're going to build the assembler too. It's going to be 4 of blue and 4 of green, I believe. We have our research completed. So every time you get a research complete, it will pop up a little DNA sample on the left-hand side there. You need a blue and a green subunit to get an assembler going. So again, that's 4 blue and 4 green. Guessed it, you're going to want to build at least 2. I recommend 4, but depending on where you are with your storage space and what you've been building, you might be at a premium. That being said, you can always build another workbench or 2 if you'd like. Each workbench is going to be 4 yellows. Oh, excuse me, they're going to be 8 yellows, aren't they? Where are we going? So I just have that build in just to sample that for you. All right, so as you can guess here, we're going to build assemblers. Now, those are like the manufacturing machines, assemblers that you get in Factorio. So we're going to take our refined amino acids, which are these tubes, and we're going to want to build an assembler near them. So that way we have the ability to just automate our own microtube production. So once you've placed your assembler, I recommend just giving a one space in between. You can hit E to choose your recipe. Go ahead and click your microtubes, and then we'll go ahead and get our pickers set up such that, you know, one is under the ribosome pointing down, the other is under the assembler but pointing down. From there, you can grab your microtubes, draw a little path out. It'll start feeding your microtubes. You can just manually move the items down as well. Take a red, boom, 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 boom. Manually picking them up here is a little bit faster to keep that going. I think we need one more assembler, so I'm gonna get that going. While we're waiting for this, oh, we already got our next mission here. And while we're doing that, we can get another research going. I recommend picking next evolution. Okay, it's going to have discover how to deassemble and bind the nucleobases back into base pairs. So again, more advanced research is going to require us to combine our blue and our orange and our green and our purples. So I recommend just starting that and getting that going. You need one of each, so grab, put one directly in, put the other 3 at the end of your tube, and then you can ignore it. Research is pretty simple in the beginning of the game. We're going to want to, the next task here we've got, see the goals. There's usually like one story goal and then sort of support goal, you know, and most of the support goals are just keep doing what we've already told you to do. That's kind of what's going on up there. We're going to want to automate our primitive picker and highlight that, get in there, and you're going to need 2 more pickers in the same sort of setup. And there you go. All right, so we got some research going on. We got production going on here. Everything is going super swimmingly, isn't it? We're at the halfway mark here. So you've got the basics of research, you've got the basics of consumption, and you've got the basics of production. So we need to start getting into some of the advanced topics. We have about 30 minutes left in this class here today, kids. So let's get to it. Wait for this to finish on our next mission target to pop up. Perfect. So basically it's given us less instruction. We know what to do now. We need to automate the production of green tubes and blue tubes. So grab one of each of those. For this one here, I recommend actually spacing them out as far as you can. I know that kind of seems strange, but hear me out. Take one of the blue, put it on the far way, put it on the green, put it on the far way as well. If you've got some pickers. You can actually get them directly from your assembler now. And you can also do the same with your microtubes. You still have to place them on the ground and pick them up. That's still a little clunky, but that is what it is. Our research is done for evolutions. We can actually do some advanced research now. Before we get that set up, though, we are going to keep doing some of this simple research. The next one we're going to want to do is, I believe, energy distribution. So energy distribution takes, again, one of each of the bases, and then it lets us build a primitive energy supplier. And what that's going to do is let us power our buildings. And pick your base one up, put it in directly, and then place the other 3 in the end of the microtube. I am probably going to have to look for some blues here in a second. But that is a-okay. Back here, the cytosomes have started eating. Let's go ahead and get our ribosomes set up. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and pick up 2 more pickers. Get it so that it's facing into the ribosome. Make sure you pick the right color for each line. Off you go. You can help speed that along as well by just dropping some in manually. Giving some amino acids in there. And so one thing to note is that while your ribosomes or while your assemblers are working, they're actually generating heat. They're generating light, and they are keeping your cell a little bit warmer than the areas around it. Now, we're still a little early on. We might not be feeling the effects from the heat yet. But you can kind of see that's 36.8 on all the periphery cells. But we got 37s over here. We're staying warm because of all this activity. Alright, so we're on to our next one here. We've got our basics going here. Improved siphoning. So what it's going to want you to do here is discover basic transportation, which I think we can do if we find another blue nucleobase. And again, you might have a different collection of nucleobases you're missing. I'm just missing blue. I'm just harvesting all of the nucleobases I see. I know I did pick up a blue, but I'm looking for some more if I can find them quick. I missed picking up that one. It had just vanished up in the northern quadrant there. Alright. We've got evolution. We've got our energy distribution. Let's discover basic transportation like the game is telling us to do. And we can get that going for one of each. What that's going to do is give us an improved microtube, which you see is 2 red and a green. An improved picker, which is 2 yellow and a blue. An item kicker, which lets you combine lines on microtubes, which is a yellow and a red. And a primitive item tunnel, which is a red and a blue, which allows you to build stuff under other existing lines. So again, this is very much like Factorio. It's just a slightly different presentation. You don't just have a little guy running around doing all this. We need to get our research going. I still need to go find that little blue base I picked up. Looking around, seeing if I can find one on the hunt here. I recommend having the walls down, just because usually nucleobases, for whatever reason, in my experience, have liked to form under walls. We got our basic research going. Once that's done, we can build the item that we're going to need to build to move on to the next function. So again, while I'm waiting for something to occur, that is a good time to hunt for nucleobases. I only picked up a protein. We'll leave the protein over here. We're actually going to move, once we get it unlocked, we're going to move our research chunk down into the corner. So I'll show you how you can set up more advanced research. Again, the goal is to get us automating the production of our own cell. We'll show you how expansion works. Are we going to be able to do it in the next 25 minutes? Well, only one way to find out, partner, and that's by staying on this video. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, it'd be awesome if you gave us a like, a comment, even a subscribe, because I like making retro gaming content and I like making strategy guides for complex PC games. And, if you don't subscribe, I'm not going to keep doing it. So, we are almost done here with our basic research. That's going to let us get this item kicker built and get this next little chunk done. What I recommend doing here is grab your revolver, bring it down to the corner here. Remember that second revolver I asked you to build? Build it down here. And what we're going to do is, if you highlight over this catalyzer, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for this DNA nuclease. What this is going to let us do is it's going to scrap plasmids into the nucleobases that we can use for evolution. It uses a blue and a yellow subunit, so grab 4 blue, 4 yellow, and get that nuclease going. We've got our basic transportation built, so that means we can build our kicker. We need a yellow and a red tube, so again, just for ease of use, just pull them off of here, because presumably your tubes are now down in here getting built up into pickers, into microtubes. So just grab some raw amino acids and get your 2 item kickers that way. Again, grab 4 and 4, bring them on over here, and get those bad boys built in. We can go ahead and start doing our next research, potentially. I gotta see if there's anything we can do with just the basics. We might be required to do some advanced research here. So, let's get that going. Just once this new double kicker thing is built. Item kicker. Item kickers work out of the same menu, that 3 button. If you tab over here, that's how you get to them. Again, tab on the 3. Press 1 to get back to your picking hand. And again, they work just like the microtubes. You have to place them first, and then left click to add them to that hidden inventory. Alright, so we've got that done here. We're going to actually need to do some more advanced research now. So to get that started, let's take that DNA nuclease I asked you to build and bring it down over here by the plasmids. You'll also want to grab a couple of cytosomes. Boom, boom, boom. And a couple of pickers. You're going to need 4. And boom, boom, boom. Get 1 going under there. And we'll use our item kicker here. I'll show you how that works. Well, plasmid's not good. So the item kicker, what you're going to want to do is just place it in the crux there. What that's going to do is that anytime you have a junction, it will tell you what to do at that junction. The plasmids should be going into this nucleobase. They're going to come out, or into the nucleus, and they're going to come out as nucleobases. You're going to want to build a little web or something like this, so that way they have some area to grow. Alright, so now what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to catalyze the combination of these nucleobases. And the way we're going to do that is with a catalyzer. You can get that with 2 green subunits. So that means for each catalyzer, you're going to need 8 amino acids. And again, you're going to need 2 of these because there's 2 pairs. There's G and C and A and T. So you need to have 2 of those. I recommend hitting 2. That way you can pick up your other revolver. You're going to want to put it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. Like that or so. And what we can do is get 2 more pickers. Place them into your revolvers like that. Get a nice little web like this going. Something like that, I don't know. Something like that, I don't know. And I'm going to move some of this out of the way. What we're going to need here is to grab our catalyzer. Put it somewhere like there. Grab your other catalyzer. you guessed it, put it somewhere like there. And we'll keep snaking. Oh, we need more microtubes. So, yeah, you might need to refresh your microtubes. We might need to refresh your pickers. That's all good. One trick I learned is you can just grab your pickers and put them in the item bench. That way it'll keep making them here. That way you don't fill up. And ahead and boom. The same sort of thing. Kind of artistic. I like it. You're going to want to go ahead and set a recipe, but you can't do that quite yet. So the catalyzers, they actually need something called an enzyme in order to do their reaction. And the way you build those are in a ribosome, so we're going to need to get an additional ribosome. We're going to take that ribosome. We are going to build it down here. There's only one enzyme you can build at this part in the game, so that isn't a problem there. You're not going to have any issue picking the correct one. And while we're waiting, we should be getting our research all sort of moved down here, because we could be setting it up. That's okay. Grab your ribosome. Put it over here by the catalyzers. Select your recipe. And I recommend grabbing 4 green, 4 blue, 4 yellow. Do it one more time. 4 green, 4 blue, and 4 yellow. Oh, we got our first attack. This may have happened before for you. I apologize. It's just getting my first one here. You get little bacteria attacking you. Just highlight them, find them, and left click on them, and you'll kill them. Once you've got your catalyzers built, you can put them, when your enzyme's built, you put them in your catalyzer. Just right click and then left click to drop it in. From there, you can set your recipes. You're going to want to do AT on one side. You're going to want to do CG on the other. And you're going to need some more microtubes. And you're going to need to build a little pathway. I recommend building one that's like 4 or 5 long. In this little 2 pattern here like this. Oop. Okay, that worked out okay. Let's go ahead and pick up some pickers. Get those placed into our catalyzer. We're going to need 2 more pickers. And they're going to come out of the catalyzer. Like that. And like that. And I recommend just sort of getting some of that research going. So, to do that, you're going to want to place the color pairs on the end of the catalyzers like such. Again, orange and blue go together, green and purple go together. I have them a little backwards. I don't know why. I like to have them the mouths the correct way. Yeah, and then just I recommend filling up a couple lines here. You'll have nucleobases coming out of this protein here. Plus, you'll still be able to hunt along the edge here for those. Once those catalyzers get going, they'll drop their little actually completed base pairs, and they'll start heading towards the researchers. From there, we're going to want to do our next set of researches. We need 4 of each to do expansion, which is the thing I told you we'd be able to do in 1 hour. So let's get that automated, you guys. We're going to get our research started there. We're going to need to make sure that we have enough to complete. So you're going to need 4 pairs of each. So make sure you have at least 4 of each going through these machines. If you ever have any downtime, you can come through and help set this up. Another thing you can do, which I'm going to show you real quick, is just set up a little loop nearby. And what that's going to help you do is it's going to help feed and pull the appropriate amino acid or nucleobases into the research. So do one like there, one like there, And we don't quite have enough tubulins. We're pick that ones up. To pick them up, you just right click. Something like that. There we go. Place the... And there you go. And that'll sort of passively, as it kind of loops around, it'll help feed. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. It's good enough for now. Yeah, so we are kind of cruising along here. We've got our catalyzer going, automating our advanced research. We need to get into the position to start building our expansions. So, what we are going to need to do is, guessed it, keep feeding the machine. We're going to need a lot of materials here for this next period of time. Back. I don't actually need these right now. And we are just waiting for this expansion to finish up here before we can move on to the next part, automating the production of our cell expansion, which is going to be the last part of our game. I guess now is a good time to do a little mini review of the game. So it's in very early access. As you can see, it's version 0.1, so it's about a month old or so at the point of this recording. I really enjoy the game. I think it's got a lot more to do than Manor Lords, which is the big strategy game of the time right now. So it's a very controversial opinion, I'm sure, but I would rather play this over Manor Lords any day. I really like the art style, very graphically appealing, pixel style retro graphics. The music is Minecraft adjacent. It makes more noise the more stuff you've got going on. Otherwise, if you're not doing much, it kind of quiets down. I don't know that I necessarily like that. Yeah. The UI needs a little bit of improvement. As this recipe thing expands, it just gets huge. You can do a little collapsing here and there, but that's only so effective. Yeah, so that's kind of a quick review here. One thing, I've had an issue with the scale of the game. I mentioned that at the very beginning. It's all presented as if you're building up a single cell, but you really are a multicellular organism. If you were a single cell, you'd have some sort of nucleus and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's kind of a scale problem to this. That's neither here nor there. So we got to prepare our first expansion. I'm going to try to do that here. We got about 10 minutes left to go. Honestly, you can pick any research you want here. Mitochondria might be a good one, so I'm just going to let that go on its own. Let us, from here, build our expansion. So there's a couple of things you're going to need in order to expand. The first thing you're going to need is this primitive dispatcher, which is the easiest thing to build. Just grab 4 green tubes, 4 blue tubes. You probably aren't going to have any red tubes, so I recommend just grabbing 8 red amino acids. And you can build 1, and you can even build 2 of those bad boys if you have the time for it. We're going to need to prepare a cytoskeleton zone and expand by 1 chunk. Cytoskeleton needs 2 green tubes plus this weird set of purple tubes, which I forgot to research, so fantastic. I think we can cancel our research. We're going to just go up here, go all the way up to the top here, go to functional proteins, click on evolve. This is going to be the required research for everything you need to expand. So I apologize for mitochondria. I just wanted to get the joke in about it being the power plant of the cell. But that was a mistake on my part. And I record these in 1 take, so there's really only so much you can do. So that being said, we got a plan for building some additional stuff here. In order to facilitate that, I recommend expanding your cytosomes if you've got them. Grab some greens, grab some blues, pump those into your workbench of choice. Get some cytosomes going on because we are going to need to harvest more stuff. I'm going to move that there. That's a bad design on my part. It should have always been lined up that way. And blue, blue, blue. I see a bacteria coming at me. Get out of here. Got him. So if you take an injury from them, that's fine. The process that we're doing now is also the process you'll more or less take to fix the injuries that you receive from those combatants. So I think I might be down on research. So take a quick peek here. Orange. Alright, so hopefully get our last little bit of research in. Oh, we're getting into a time crunch here. Those, yeah, we need more. We'll need some ribosomes. So get some ribosomes going if you don't already have some building up. Need at least 3. Hopefully you have a couple of extra assemblers. If not, get those built too while we're waiting. And it looks like we got about 9 minutes left on the recording here. Are we going to be able to do it? Let me know in the comments if you think we're going to get this done in 1 hour or less. And again, I might not necessarily expand per se. I will just show you that we're going to begin the process, have all of the pieces in place to do the automation. With the cytosomes that you've been building, expand the blue and the red, or the blue and the green tubes out to 3 and 3. You could do the same with the yellow and red amino acids if you'd like. And get some tubes going. Boop. The tube out the pickers too. Whatever you like. You can do whatever you like. What kind of game this is. More pickers. Perfect. Alright, come on, research. Where are we at? Finally the last one there. So perfect. So, again, we saw that in order to build the cytoskeleton scaffold, which is how we're going to start our expansion, we need 2 green tubes plus whatever this is, this vimentin. You get that from 2 blues and 2 yellows. So we are going to need to build some more cytosomes. 1 there. Get some more of those going. Good. Get a cytosome there. Gotta build this bad boy. Alright. Now we're just scrambling. I'm sure your base is much more, much less hectic than mine, but I'm on a time crunch. So, get this bad boy set up. And again, you can expand as you need to, add more cytosomes to add more production. You can also just drop those directly in as needed. I'm considering it automated as long as there's one source feeding it. So that's going to get us to our vitamin, and then we're going to need to also get our cytoskeleton scaffolding going. So that's you're going to build with an assembler. That about there or so. And again, drop some tubes, drop some tubes. Boop, 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 boop. Have some there. Should be able to get that going. Get some pickers. You know the deal by now. And you're going to want to set your recipe to that cytoskeleton. We're out of juice on the pickers. That is a-okay. Just keep dropping them. Drop some in there. Why not? And one more picker. Let's go. Let's go. We're officially, technically automating our cytosomes. What you're going to want to do from there is grab that dispatcher that we had earlier, put it 2 spaces away, and grab 2 more pickers while we wait for that one to build. Place a line there. Place one there. And click this 5. Click that there. Click build cytoskeleton. And you have begun the process of expansioning. The dispatcher will fill with the material and send it on its way. So there's 2 parts to cellular expansion. One is the structural tissue. The other is the skin, the cell membrane. So in order to do that, you're going to need, again, some more cytosomes. So I'm going to get those going quick. We're going to need to build a G-actin, which comes from a green and a blue. So we'll do one of these. One of these. Grab a couple pickers. Grab a ribosome. And pick our recipe. Pick the G-actin. The G-actin is the first protein that you're going to need to build the cell membrane. We need some more pickers going. Picker and picker. I need some tunnels too, aren't we? So go red, blue, 2 of those. We are also going to need to build an F-actin and an assembler. Put our assembler there. We're going to need another assembler. That there. We are going to need to click this, click that, get some pickers. Get those facing the right way. Hook them up. Hook that up. Now I'm, as you can see, just scrambling to try to hit my goal here. I said 1 hour or less. I don't know that I'm going to make that. But you can see where we're going with it, so that counts in my book. Absolutely gassed here. Spent too much time talking at the beginning. Alright, and we're going to need an assembler. We're going to place our other primitive disposer 2 away. We're going to set up this, build the cell membrane. And once that is complete, I am contractually completed with you. So to build the item, tubes like that, that'll feed through. Now I'm just short pickers. All I need are pickers to get what I need done. Picker, picker. I need pickers. Cytosome. Collagen. Ah. Alright. We are almost there. Need 2 more pickers, and I'm technically done. Come on, picker. Pick a winner. What my dad used to say about picking his nose. Pick a winner. Boom. And we are done. This is technically automated. So the celluloids will feed in, combine with these F-actin and G-actin molecules to become a cell membrane, and they will deposit in the deployer. Once this section is completely full of the cell the cytoskeleton scaffolding, it'll start to fill in with this cell membrane. Once you've done all of that, guess what? You've got yourself a new cell. And how do you like that? We've technically completed within 1 hour our brand new tutorial. We've started basic consumption. We've started basic refining. We've started basic production. We've started basic research, and we've started advanced research here. Look at all that we got going on. So 1 hour, you can be expanding your cell. That is the goal of the game. Thank you so much for watching. This is Eric from Fargo Retro, hoping you have a great rest of your day. Take care, y'all.